Hey everyone, welcome back to SwitchTop. The Nintendo Switch has become the ultimate home for turn-based RPG fans, and 2026 is an incredible time to dive into the genre. Today, we're counting down the top 30 turn-based RPGs you absolutely need to play on Switch right now. These are games that'll keep you hooked for dozens or even hundreds of hours. Let's jump in. Octopath Traveler 0 stands out as one of the most compelling turn-based RPG experiences to play on Nintendo Switch, thanks to how confidently it evolves the series' foundations. Combat remains built around the familiar break and boost system, encouraging players to carefully exploit enemy weaknesses, manage boost points across turns, and plan actions with precision rather than rushing encounters. Battles feel more layered due to expanded party options, with frontline and backline roles adding tactical depth and making smart character swapping a key part of high-level play. Outside of combat, exploration follows a classic JRPG structure, sending you across towns, dungeons, and story-driven locations that reward curiosity and preparation. A notable addition is the town-building system, which ties progression directly into gameplay and narrative by letting you restore and develop a ruined settlement, unlocking bonuses and new possibilities as it grows. Story-wise, the game shifts toward a more unified narrative while still embracing multiple character perspectives, focusing on themes of loss, recovery, and ambition without relying on spoilers or heavy exposition.
Looks like a charm. Let me. Now.
Right. That hurt.
What should I do? It did be strong.
Monster Sanctuary is a Metroidvania meets Pokemon-style monster collecting game where you explore interconnected environments while building a team of monsters to battle in 3 versus 3 turn-based combat. You play as a monster keeper from a family dedicated to maintaining sanctuaries for these creatures, and you'll hatch eggs, raise monsters, and customize their skill trees as they level up. The combat system focuses on building combos attacks that hit multiple times or apply buffs will stack your combo meter, and higher combos mean more damage and better loot drops at the end of battle. Each monster has unique abilities and can be built in different ways through their skill tree, so the same creature in someone else's team might function completely differently than yours. Exploration requires specific monster abilities to progress. Some can fly you across gaps, others can create vines to climb, and certain monsters reveal hidden passages. The game has a surprisingly deep competitive scene, with ranked PvP battles where team composition and build strategy really matter. Boss battles are challenging puzzles where you need to figure out the right combination of buffs, debuffs, and damage types to succeed. Tactics Ogre Reborn is a remaster of the classic 1995 tactical RPG that follows Denim Pavel as he gets caught up in a civil war on the Valerian Isles, where 3 factions are fighting for control, and your choices determine which side you support and how the story unfolds. The grid-based tactical combat has you positioning units on elevated terrain, managing height advantages, and dealing with elements like weather that affect magic effectiveness. Classes range from standard warriors and archers to dragon tamers and ninjas, and you can recruit fallen enemies after battle to join your cause. The chariot system lets you rewind battles, or even go back to previous story branches to see how different choices play out without losing your character progress. Combat is deliberately paced and strategic. Rushing in gets you killed. So, you'll need to use terrain, manage your action points carefully, and coordinate your units to flank enemies. The card-based crafting system lets you enhance equipment and create powerful gear as you progress. Voice acting has been added for major scenes, the UI has been completely overhauled to be more user-friendly, and the orchestrated soundtrack sounds fantastic.
Experiment with endless combinations, harness the unique Chariot Tarot system to rewind a doomed battle and revise your strategy. Reborn and deeper than ever, dive into a tale filled with choices that will determine the conclusion of your unforgettable journey. Tactics Ogre Reborn. Available now.
Bravely Default 2 follows 4 heroes brought together by crystals who must stop a group called the Asterisk Holders from misusing powerful magic, traveling across kingdoms and collecting the asterisks that grant special job classes. The Brave and Default system is the core mechanic you can default to defend and store up to 4 Brave points. Then go into Brave mode to take multiple actions in one turn at the cost of those points, or go into Action Debt. This risk-reward system makes every turn a strategic decision about whether to play it safe or go all in with a barrage of attacks. The job system features 24 different classes to unlock, and you can mix and match abilities from your main job and sub-job to create powerful combinations. Battles can be tough, especially bosses that require you to understand their patterns and build your party specifically to counter their strategies. You can adjust encounter rates on the fly, or even turn off random battles completely if you just want to explore and progress the story. The world is gorgeous with a watercolor art style, and towns feel alive with NPCs that have their own routines and side stories. Dungeons have environmental puzzles and optional challenges that reward you with rare items and equipment.
Sad.
Romancing Saga 2: Revenge of the Seven is a complete remake of the 1993 game, where you play as a succession of emperors ruling the Varen Empire over multiple generations, fighting against 7 legendary heroes who have become corrupted and threaten the world. The unique inheritance system means when your current emperor dies or abdicates, you choose a successor from a different character class who inherits some of the previous ruler's learned abilities, letting you experiment with different party compositions across generations. Combat uses a timeline system, where turn order is determined by action speed, and you can learn new techniques mid-battle through a glimmer system. When characters use certain abilities, there's a chance they'll discover a more powerful version. The tactical positioning matters because formations provide different stat bonuses and affect how your party interacts with enemy placement. You expand your empire by conquering territories, which unlocks new character classes to recruit and generates income for your kingdom. But expanding too quickly can trigger invasions from the 7 heroes. The remake adds voice acting, completely redone 3D graphics with a beautiful art style, and new story content that fleshes out the villain's motivations.
Time to act. Well done, everyone!
Chained Echoes is a love letter to classic 90s RPGs that follows a group of heroes caught between 3 warring kingdoms who discover an ancient threat that could destroy their entire continent. The turn-based combat system uses an overdrive meter that shifts between green, yellow, and red zones as you and enemies perform actions. Staying in the green zone provides bonuses, while the red zone causes problems, so you have to manage which abilities you use to maintain optimal positioning on the meter. There's no random encounters or grinding. Enemies are visible on the map, and the game balances itself so you're always at an appropriate level for the story content. Combat has a flow where you build up team combos by having characters act in sequence, and ultimate abilities can only be used after meeting specific conditions in battle. Characters can pilot mechs for certain battles, completely changing the available abilities and tactical options. The skill system lets you equip skill gems in limited slots, so you're constantly making meaningful choices about your loadout, rather than just unlocking everything. Exploration rewards curiosity, with hidden chests, optional bosses, and side quests that flesh out the world's lore. Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake retells the classic 1988 adventure where you play as the child of the legendary hero Ortega, setting out on your 16th birthday to complete your father's quest and defeat the archfiend Baramos, who threatens the world. You create a custom party of up to 3 companions at the tavern, choosing from classes like warrior, mage, priest, merchant, and more, and you can change their classes later at Dharma Temple to create hybrid builds. The turn-based combat is straightforward but tactical. You'll need to manage MP carefully, exploit elemental weaknesses, and make smart use of buffs and debuffs to survive tough encounters. Exploration is open-ended once you get a ship, letting you discover new continents and tackle dungeons in different orders, with plenty of secrets hidden off the beaten path. The personality system affects your stats. Your character's personality is shaped by choices in the opening sequence and can be changed through specific items, with personalities like sexy, lucky, or tough providing different stat growths. The HD 2D visual style transforms the original's 8-bit graphics into a stunning mix of pixel art characters on 3D environments, with dynamic lighting and depth of field effects. Triangle Strategy puts you in command of House Wolfort's army as Serenoa Wolfort, whose arranged marriage to a rival nation's princess becomes complicated when war breaks out across the continent of Norzelia over control of salt and iron resources. The tactical, grid-based combat emphasizes terrain elevation, elemental interactions, and positioning. Fire attacks can ignite oil puddles, ice magic creates slippery surfaces, and high ground provides massive combat advantages. Each character has unique abilities and can be promoted to advanced classes with new skills. And you'll need to build a balanced roster because certain story maps have deployment limits. The conviction system tracks your decisions across 3 ideologies: utility, morality, and liberty. And characters with similar convictions will trust you more and might unlock special story scenes. Major story decisions are made through the scales of conviction, where you must convince your advisors to vote for your preferred choice by gathering information, talking to NPCs, and exploring optional scenes before the vote. There are multiple branching story paths that lead to entirely different chapters and endings based on these democratic votes, giving the game serious replay value.
敵は残り少ない。このまま押し切るのだ。勝利のために。どうだ。もらった。今だ。
Pokemon Legends Arceus reinvented the Pokemon formula by sending you back to the ancient Hisui region as a member of the Galaxy Expedition team, tasked with creating the first Pokédex by studying Pokemon in their natural habitats. The combat system keeps turn-based battles, but adds the Strong Style and Agile Style mechanics. Strong Style makes moves hit harder, but slows your next turn, while Agile Style does less damage, but might let you move twice in a row, depending on speed stats. You can catch Pokemon directly in the overworld by sneaking through tall grass and throwing Pokeballs without entering battle. Though, aggressive Alpha Pokemon will attack you directly, and you'll need to dodge roll to avoid damage. Each Pokemon has research tasks, like catch 3 Bidoof or see Staravia use Aerial Ace 5 times. And completing these tasks levels up your Pokédex entries and raises your star rank with the Galaxy team. Crafting plays a big role. You'll gather materials from the environment to craft Pokeballs, potions, and other items. Since there are no Pokemarts in this ancient setting, the story explores the origins of the Hisui region and features time travel elements that connect to the modern Sinnoh games with a mysterious protagonist arrival and a climactic battle against a powerful deity Pokemon. Fire Emblem Three Houses casts you as a mercenary who becomes a professor at the Garreg Mach Monastery's Officer Academy, where you must choose to lead one of 3 houses, the Black Eagles, Blue Lions, or Golden Deer, with each house following a completely different story path that reveals different perspectives on the continent's history and brewing conflict. The game is split between monastery exploration phases, where you build relationships with students, train their skills, and complete side quests, and tactical grid-based battles, where permanent death keeps the stakes high. The class system is incredibly flexible. You can train any character in any weapon type and certify them for classes they meet the requirements for. So, your mage can become a knight, or your archer can learn magic, if you invest the time. Combat abilities, gambits that let entire battalions perform special moves, and weapon durability all factor into the strategic depth. Building support relationships through tea parties, meals, and choosing correct dialogue responses unlocks paired endings and powerful combat bonuses when units fight near each other.
Good idea.
Octopath Traveler gives you 8 different characters to recruit across the continent of Orstera, each with their own profession, hometown, and personal story to complete. The HD 2D visual style mixes retro pixel art characters with 3D environments and modern lighting effects that look incredible on the Switch screen. Combat revolves around the break and boost system, where you discover enemy weaknesses, exploit them to break their defense, and then spend boost points to unleash multiple attacks in one turn for massive damage. Each character has path actions they can use in towns. The merchant can buy items from any NPC, the thief can steal from people, the dancer can lure townspeople to follow them, and the warrior can challenge anyone to a duel. You can tackle the 8 storylines in any order you want, though the stories don't really interconnect until the optional post-game content. The job system lets you unlock secondary classes for each character, mixing abilities to create powerful combinations, like a hunter who can also use magic, or a cleric with thief skills. Boss battles require careful strategy as you manage your boost points, exploit weaknesses at the right moment, and coordinate your party's turns.
I'll do my best.
Letting my air up.
Chained Echoes is a love letter to 90s RPGs that follows a group of heroes caught between 3 warring kingdoms who discover an ancient threat that could destroy their entire continent. The turn-based combat uses an overdrive meter that shifts between green, yellow, and red zones as you and enemies perform actions. Staying in the green zone gives you bonuses, while the red zone causes problems, so you need to carefully manage which abilities you use to maintain optimal positioning. There are no random encounters or level grinding. All enemies are visible on the map, and the game automatically balances your level to match the story content, letting you focus on strategy instead of grinding. Characters can pilot mechs during certain battles, which completely changes your available abilities and tactical options. The skill system has you equipping skill gems in limited slots, forcing meaningful choices about your loadout, rather than just unlocking everything available. Combat builds up team combos when characters act in sequence, and ultimate abilities can only be used after meeting specific conditions during battle.
Brace yourself. I'll keep the enemies on me. Let's see it.
Fire Emblem Engage earns its place among the best turn-based RPGs on Nintendo Switch by delivering tightly designed tactical gameplay that constantly rewards smart decision-making. Battles unfold on grid-based maps where unit positioning, terrain, and the classic weapon triangle play a crucial role, reinforced by the break mechanic that prevents enemies from counterattacking when you strike with advantage. The standout system is the Emblem Ring mechanic, which allows characters to temporarily merge with legendary heroes, gaining powerful abilities, stat boosts, and unique attacks that can decisively shift the flow of combat if used at the right moment. This creates a strong risk-reward loop, pushing players to plan turns carefully instead of relying on brute force. Combat depth is further enhanced through chain attacks and chain guards, encouraging tight unit formations and cooperation across your army. Between battles, the Somnial Hub acts as a preparation space, where you strengthen bonds, refine equipment, and fine-tune your squad, adding a light management layer that complements the tactical focus.
I live to fight again.
Divinity Original Sin 2 drops you into the world of Rivellon, where you're a sorcerer, someone who can use powerful source magic that's been outlawed. And you start the game imprisoned on a ship heading to a containment facility. You can create a custom character or choose from 6 origin characters, each with their own backstory, personal quests, and unique dialogue options that significantly change how you experience the story. The combat is tactical, turn-based, on a grid, where environmental interactions are key. You can electrify water puddles, create ice surfaces to make enemies slip, teleport explosive barrels onto enemy groups, or use rain to douse fires and weaken fire-based enemies. Action points determine what you can do each turn, and positioning matters since attacks of opportunity punish poor movement. The classless progression system lets you mix and match skills from different schools to create unique builds. You could be a necromancer who also uses fire magic, or a rogue with summoning abilities. Outside combat, the game plays like a classic RPG, with tons of NPCs to talk to, quests with multiple solutions, and choices that have real consequences throughout the story. Your party members have their own opinions and will sometimes disagree with your decisions. Trails in the Sky first chapter follows Estelle and Joshua, two young bracers in training, basically adventurers for hire, who travel across the Liberal Kingdom, taking on various jobs while searching for their missing father. The turn-based combat uses a tactical grid system, where positioning affects spell ranges and area of effect abilities, and turn order is displayed, so you can plan around when enemies will act. Arts are magic spells powered by quartz, equipped in orbments. These orbments have different slots with element requirements, so you're constantly experimenting with quartz combinations to unlock new spells while maintaining the stat bonuses they provide. Crafts are special character abilities that use CP points built up through basic attacks, and S-crafts are powerful ultimate moves that can be unleashed at any time by spending 100 CP. The story starts small with simple tasks like finding lost items or investigating disturbances, but gradually builds into a larger conspiracy involving the kingdom's politics and neighboring nations. NPCs have incredible depth. Nearly every named character has dialogue that updates after every story beat, making the world feel genuinely alive.
Not done yet!
Not done yet!
Super Mario RPG brings the classic 1996 SNES game to Switch, with completely remade 3D graphics, while keeping the original's isometric perspective and gameplay intact. Smithy, an otherworldly being, crashes into Bowser's castle and shatters the Star Road that grants wishes, and Mario must team up with Bowser, Princess Peach, and two new characters, Mallow and Geno, to collect the star pieces and restore the Star Road. The timed hit combat system has you pressing buttons at the right moment to deal extra damage or reduce incoming damage, turning basic turn-based battles into an active experience where you're always engaged. Each character has unique special moves that require different button timing. Mario has jump and fireball attacks, Geno shoots beams and can boost party stats, Bowser has powerful physical attacks, Peach focuses on healing, and Mallow uses elemental magic. The remake adds a 3-person combo system where perfectly timing all 3 party members' attacks triggers a powerful team-up move. Exploration involves jumping puzzles, hidden blocks to find, and minigames scattered throughout the world. The humor is classic Mario charm, with fourth wall breaks and visual gags throughout the adventure. Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance is the definitive version of SMT5 that adds a completely new storyline route called the Canon of Vengeance, alongside the original Canon of Creation path. You play as a high school student in Tokyo who gets transported to Dot, a demon-infested wasteland version of Tokyo where you fuse with a mysterious being to become the Nahobino, a powerful entity that can fight demons on equal footing. The press-turn combat system is all about exploiting weaknesses and avoiding enemy strengths. Hitting a weakness or landing a critical gives you an extra turn, but missing or hitting a resistance loses you turns, making every decision crucial. You recruit demons by negotiating with them during battle through dialogue choices based on their personalities, and recruited demons can be fused together to create stronger demons that inherit selected skills from their components. The demon fusion system has incredible depth, with hundreds of demons to discover and countless fusion combinations to experiment with. Combat is brutally difficult, even on normal mode. Bosses require careful party composition, proper buff and debuff management, and sometimes specific demon resistances to survive their signature moves. Trails to Azure is the direct sequel to Trails from Zero and follows Lloyd Bannings and the Special Support Section as they deal with increased political tension in Crossbell State, a small nation caught between two superpowers that both want to annex it. The combat system is similar to other Trails games, with tactical, grid-based positioning, an orbment system for magic arts, and character-specific crafts, but Azure refines everything with smoother combat flow and more dynamic enemy encounters. The Master Court system introduced here gives characters powerful passive abilities and ultimate arts based on which Master Courts they equip and level up through combat. The story is intensely political, dealing with themes of independence, terrorism, and how far people will go to protect their homeland, with consequences from your choices in the previous game carrying over. Side quests are incredibly detailed, with multi-part investigations that span chapters, and hidden quests reward players who thoroughly explore and talk to NPCs. The game excels at making side characters feel important. Even minor NPCs have ongoing stories that develop throughout the game. Combat difficulty ramps up significantly in the later chapters, with bosses that require specific strategies and proper setup to overcome. Lunar Remastered Collection includes remasters of Lunar Silver Star Story and Lunar 2 Eternal Blue, two classic PS1 RPGs that defined story-driven JRPGs in the late 90s. Silver Star Story follows Alex, a young man from a small village who idolizes Dragon Master Dine and dreams of becoming a hero himself, setting out on a journey that becomes much bigger than he imagined when he meets Luna, a girl with a mysterious singing voice. The combat is straightforward turn-based, with a movement range system, where characters need to be close enough to physically attack enemies, adding a small tactical element to positioning. The English voice acting was groundbreaking for its time, and the remaster keeps the original dub with cleaned-up audio. Eternal Blue takes place 1,000 years later and follows Hero, a treasure hunter who meets Lucia, a visitor from the Blue Star, who has come to destroy Zophar, an evil entity threatening both worlds. The magic system uses MP for spells, and characters learn new abilities as they level up, with no complex customization systems. It's focused entirely on the story and character relationships. The remaster adds new animated cutscenes, updated UI, and modernized graphics, while keeping the original art style intact. Live Alive is a remake of a 1994 Super Famicom game that was never released outside Japan until this Switch version, and it's structured unlike any other RPG on this list. You play through 7 different scenarios, set in different time periods: prehistory, Imperial China, the Edo period, the Wild West, present day, near future, and distant future, each with different protagonists, gameplay styles, and stories that seem completely unconnected. The prehistory chapter has no dialogue and relies entirely on visual storytelling. The Shinobi chapter plays like a stealth game, where you can avoid all combat. The Wild West chapter is structured like a boss rush, where you set traps around town before the final showdown. Each scenario takes 1 to 2 hours to complete, and you can tackle them in any order before the final chapter reveals how everything connects. Combat uses a grid-based tactical system, where positioning and timing matter. Different moves have different ranges and area effects, and turn order is displayed so you can plan your strategy. Each time period has its own visual style, with the HD 2D remake giving each chapter a distinct look. Once you complete all 7 scenarios, a medieval fantasy chapter unlocks that brings everything together in ways you won't see coming. Sea of Stars is a love letter to classic 90s RPGs that follows 2 children of the solstice, Valir and Zale, who can harness the power of the sun and moon to fight against an alchemist, creating monsters called Dwellers. The timed hit combat system has you pressing buttons at the right moment during attacks and blocks to deal extra damage or reduce incoming hits, keeping you engaged during every battle. Enemies have lock points above their heads, showing which damage types will interrupt their next attack, so you need to coordinate your party's sun, moon, and sword attacks strategically. There's no random encounters. All enemies are visible on the map, and you can avoid them if you want. Exploration includes swimming, climbing, and solving environmental puzzles using your sun and moon powers. The pixel art is gorgeous, with dynamic lighting effects, and the soundtrack was composed by Yasunori Mitsuda, who worked on Chrono Trigger. You can adjust enemy damage and encounter rates in the settings to customize difficulty. The story takes about 25 to 30 hours, with optional side quests and hidden bosses that add more challenge. Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Remaster brings back two classic PS1 RPGs, where you recruit 108 characters called the Stars of Destiny to build an army and fight against corrupt empires. The first game follows a young Imperial soldier who defects after witnessing atrocities and leads a rebellion, while the second game is about childhood friends torn apart by war between city-states. Combat is standard turn-based with a party of 6 characters, and you can set up formations that provide different stat bonuses. The real hook is the army battles, where you command units in a rock, paper, scissors style war system, and one-on-one duels where you read opponent dialogue to predict their next move. Your headquarters castle grows as you recruit more characters, unlocking shops, minigames, and services. Each of the 108 characters has unique recruitment requirements. Some join automatically through the story, others need specific items, or you need to win them over through side quests. The cooking system lets you combine ingredients to create stat-boosting meals. The remaster adds quality-of-life features like auto battle, speed-up options, and a conversation log, making these PS1 classics much easier to play. Persona 4 Golden puts you in the shoes of a high school student who moves to the rural town of Inaba and discovers a supernatural mystery involving people getting thrown into a TV world and murdered. You and your friends awaken to Persona's manifestations of your inner self that let you fight shadows in the TV world's dungeons. The game splits time between dungeon crawling and social simulation, where you attend school, build relationships with classmates, join clubs, and manage your daily schedule. Combat uses the press turn system, where hitting enemy weaknesses gives you extra actions, but enemies get the same advantage if they exploit your weaknesses. You can capture defeated shadows to use as new personas and fuse them together in the Velvet Room to create stronger ones with inherited skills. Social links you build with NPCs directly power up specific persona types when fusing. The calendar system means you have limited time to complete dungeons before deadlines, while balancing social activities that permanently increase your stats. The Golden version adds new characters, an extended ending, and quality-of-life improvements to the original Vita release.
That's some thick skin!
It's over! I couldn't do it!
3 enemies left! Persona! Go, Sensei!
Unicorn Overlord is a tactical RPG from Vanillaware, where you play as Prince Elaine, exiled heir to the Cornean throne, who must build an army to reclaim his kingdom from the Zenoiran Empire that conquered it years ago. The real-time tactical combat has you deploying units on large battlefields, where they automatically fight when they encounter enemies, but you program their tactics beforehand using a gambit system that determines which skills they use and when. You can pause at any time to reposition units, call reinforcements, or use items. Between battles, you liberate towns, recruit over 60 unique characters with different classes, and build rapport between units to unlock powerful team attacks. The rapport system affects both combat effectiveness and story scenes between characters. Each character can be promoted to advanced classes with different stat growths and abilities. You manage your army's equipment, skills, and formation positioning. The story branches based on which regions you liberate and in what order, with multiple endings determined by your choices. The hand-drawn art style is absolutely stunning, with detailed character portraits and beautiful environments, and the orchestral soundtrack perfectly matches the epic fantasy setting.
Witness the royal blade!
I am your shield.
Behold my might!
I trust you!
Dragon Quest XI's Definitive Edition follows the Luminary, a young man marked as the reincarnation of an ancient hero who gets branded as a darkspawn and must go on the run while uncovering the truth about his destiny and an ancient evil threatening the world. The turn-based combat is classic Dragon Quest, with a party of up to 4 characters, each with skill trees you can customize to focus on different abilities like swords, spears, or magic. The pep power system builds up during battle and lets you unleash special team attacks when multiple characters are pepped up at once. You can switch between 3D mode with full camera control or a retro 2D mode that mimics the old Dragon Quest games with pixel art and a top-down perspective. The world is massive, with towns, dungeons, and fields packed with quests, minigames, and hidden collectibles. The Draconian quest settings let you add difficulty modifiers like stronger enemies or no armor if you want more challenge. The S version adds character-specific stories, a symphonic soundtrack option, and full voice acting in English and Japanese.
Go on! You can do it!
Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door is a faithful remake of the GameCube classic, where Mario searches for the 7 crystal stars and the legendary treasure behind the Thousand-Year Door, while stopping the X-Nauts from awakening an ancient demon. The timed hit combat system has you pressing buttons with precise timing to deal extra damage or block attacks effectively, and you earn star power from the audience watching your battles to unleash special moves. Partners like Goombella, Koops, and Vivian each have unique abilities used both in combat and for solving environmental puzzles in the overworld. The badge system lets you equip abilities that modify Mario's stats, add new attacks, or provide passive bonuses, but you have limited BP, so you need to build your loadout strategically. Chapters take you to wildly different locations, from a fighting arena to a luxury train to a tropical island, each with their own stories and memorable characters. The writing is genuinely funny, with fourth wall breaks and visual gags throughout. The remake updates the graphics while keeping the paper aesthetic, and adds quality of life features like a badge storage system and hints. Octopath Traveler 2 takes you across 2 continents separated by sea, where you recruit 8 travelers, each with unique jobs, abilities, and personal storylines to complete. The HD 2D visuals combine pixel art characters with 3D environments and modern lighting that looks phenomenal. Combat uses the break and boost system. You discover enemy weaknesses, exploit them to break their defense, then spend boost points to unleash multiple attacks in one turn for massive damage. Each character has path actions for interacting with NPCs in towns, like buying items, hiring followers, stealing goods, or challenging people to duels. The stories are more interconnected than the first game, with characters appearing in each other's chapters and crossed path stories that unlock when you have specific character pairs. You can mix jobs by unlocking secondary classes and combining their abilities for powerful builds. Latent powers build up during combat and let each character use their ultimate ability. The day and night cycle changes which NPCs appear and which path actions are available. Boss battles require smart strategy as you manage boost points and exploit weaknesses at crucial moments. It's a meaty 60 to 80 hour adventure with post-game content.
Allow me.
What's our plan of attack? My spear shall strike true!
This isn't over.
Persona 5 Royal casts you as a high school student falsely accused of assault, who transfers to Tokyo and discovers the ability to enter the metaverse, a cognitive world where you can steal the distorted desires of corrupt adults by infiltrating their palaces. You form the Phantom Thieves with other teens who've been wronged by society, using personas to fight shadows in turn-based combat that emphasizes exploiting weaknesses for extra turns. The all-out attack system triggers when you knock down all enemies, letting your party unleash a devastating group assault. You can negotiate with shadows to recruit them as new personas, and fuse them in the Velvet Room to create stronger ones with inherited skills. The social simulation has you managing your time between dungeon crawling and building relationships with confidants, whose stories unlock gameplay bonuses like new fusion options and party abilities. Palaces are handcrafted dungeons with puzzles and stealth segments where you ambush enemies or negotiate your way through. The Royal version adds a new semester, additional characters, a new palace, quality of life improvements, and expanded endings that weren't in the original.
Persona! Something isn't working! Crow's got some moves! Enemy!
Final Fantasy Tactics: The Ivalice Chronicles is a collection bringing the PS1 tactical masterpiece and its sequel to Switch. With tactics following Ramza Bluv, a noble caught in a conspiracy during the War of the Lions that threatens to tear apart the kingdom of Ivalice. The grid-based tactical combat has you positioning units on 3D terrain, where height differences affect damage and movement range, with a turn order system based on character speed stats. The job system is incredibly deep, with over 20 classes to unlock. Characters gain JP from battles to learn abilities from their current job, and you can equip abilities from other jobs you've mastered to create hybrid builds. Permadeath is real. If you don't revive fallen units within 3 turns, raising the stakes in every battle. Story battles have unique map designs and objectives beyond just defeating all enemies. The Tactics Ogre-style political narrative deals with themes of class warfare, religious manipulation, and the cost of loyalty, with mature writing that doesn't pull punches. The sequel advances the turn-based gameplay with the judge system that changes rules each battle.
What am I done for? Never a doubt. What to do?
Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake brings the original 2 Dragon Quest games that started the entire JRPG genre to modern audiences with the HD 2D visual treatment that combines pixel art with 3D environments and dynamic lighting. The first game follows the descendant of legendary hero Erdrick on a solo quest to rescue Princess Gwaelin and defeat the Dragon Lord threatening the kingdom of Alefgard in this foundational adventure that established the genre. Dragon Quest II expands the scope with a party of 3 descendants of Erdrick traveling across multiple continents to stop the evil wizard Hargon from summoning a god of destruction. The combat is straightforward, turn-based, where you select commands for each character, manage MP for spells, and grind to level up for tough encounters. The remakes modernize the experience with quality of life features like an auto-battle option, quest markers, and faster combat speed, while preserving the original game design and challenge. Both games together offer around 20 to 25 hours of classic JRPG gameplay that shows where the genre began, and the HD 2D treatment makes these NES classics look absolutely gorgeous on modern hardware. And there you have it, the top 30 turn-based RPGs on Nintendo Switch for 2026. From classic remakes to modern innovations, the Switch has become the best console for turn-based RPG fans. Let me know in the comments which of these games you've played and which ones you're adding to your backlog. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button and subscribe to SwitchTop for more Nintendo Switch content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.